not a stretch to realize that it's still ongoing. So when you meet someone, or you're talking to someone new about this, and you're telling them about the engineering of the weather, and that's what chemtrails' primary agenda is, that's palpable, that's reasonable, it makes sense. They can look it up, they can look up the patents. Oh, the patents start in the 1890s? Well, that's really curious. Okay, another way to go about it is you meet someone, or you're talking to someone for the first time, and you say, oh, they're spraying the skies with poison, and they're killing everybody, and there's nanoparticulates in the sprays. That's not a very grounded way to go about it. They're going to dismiss you. Okay? Is that a piece of the puzzle? Quite possibly, yes. Most, even likely, yes. Like oftentimes they'll spray stuff where I live that I think is lithium, and I'm all drowsy and I can't think straight. But I'm not going to go tell that to someone that's new to the situation. It's about being the proper seed planter and owning our part in this awakening, because the powers that be, they rely on us being labeled as crazy conspiracy theorists. But in reality, they're selling us geoengineering as a solution while telling us that chemtrails is a crazy conspiracy theory. How does that make any sense? It doesn't. So that's what I've got to say about that. I'm expecting the DJ to come soon and to play us some music while we get going, but this has been a very long mic check. I guess I'll just keep on talking for now. I've been on a bunch of podcasts recently. Sheep Farm is a really great one, and one of the hosts of Sheep Farm will be here soon. His name is Chris, and God bless them for helping get the word out, and that's really great. But really, podcasts are great, documentaries are great, but we can all play our part. I know I'm going to say this. We can all play our part by planting the seeds properly and having these important discussions with our friends, our families, and our peers. Okay? And if they don't believe in it, plant the seed, check back next week, see if it's germinating. If they don't believe it, plant the seed, check back next year. If you do it in a grounded fashion, they'll look at the skies. That's all you want out of the people that are deniers. Because we were all deniers once. We didn't wake up, we didn't come out of the womb with a chemtrail background. I mean, we just didn't. At least I didn't. You know? And it takes some time. And it takes like an aha moment when you really see it. My personal story is I was working on a farm in Northern California, which that's where I'm from. I'm from the West Coast. I grew up in Virginia, which is the East Coast of the United States. I live in the West Coast of the United States. And I come here to host a rally, and we'll talk about that later. I'm here because this is where the awake people live. This is where the spark resides for humanity. But that's part of my speech that I've got memorized, so I don't want to try to give you my speech yet, not yet. So anyways, I was working on a farm, and we had 3 years of drought. We hadn't had the rain that we usually get in Northern California, which in Northern California you get a seasonal deluge that starts in around October and it rains through March. It just keeps raining because of the jet stream coming off the Pacific Ocean, and it just rains. Like Seattle, gloomy weather, like this is where like different musicians come from and talk about the gloomy weather and what have you. So I was working on the farm that I worked on, growing potatoes and pumpkins and learning about organic farming, which I highly recommend because this is an important piece of the puzzle. As our world changes around us, we're going to have to learn how to take care of ourselves or bow to the system and get a digital ID, which will come with a lot of different things that we aren't going to want. So we're going to want to learn to take care of ourselves. Hey, Sophie's here. Hey. So, where's that gentleman that was going to talk about, do you want to talk? While I'm already talking about this? So, it's important for us to see where the future is heading. okay? Think about it. If you're here today, you likely know where we're at and where we could be going. I'm just going to talk for a minute and then I'll give you the mic. Okay? No, come join me. What's your name again?
Lauren Jolie.
And where'd you come from?
I come from Cleethorpes in North East Lincolnshire.
Awesome. So, understanding where this is all headed, Agenda 2030, the New World Order, all these different interwoven pieces of this puzzle. Okay? Hey, you're here. Come on up. So, what is it going to be like for the future of our children? Are we going to just have them have a digital ID, digital currencies, and then have everything controlled? Or are we going to see the writing on the wall and think for ourselves and plan accordingly? We have a choice. And this is Louise Thornton. Hey, Louise. Louise is going to be speaking as well, and I'm really excited that she's here. Last year she was blonde, and now she looks different, but I'm so excited that you dyed your hair. Don't go anywhere. I'll just hand it off to you in a second. Are you good with that? Okay, cool. So, community resilience. We all have to think outside the box. We have to think about what the future is going to be like for our children. And Warren, right? Warren has approached me, and we met last year. And for those of you that have come 2 years in a row, thank you so much. Warren's one of those people, and God bless you for coming twice. And Warren has some information for us that he's going to go ahead and share. And I think it's really important.
Thanks very much, Matt. We're all aware of what's going on in the world and the doom and gloom. I'm sure many of us here are in various many of us are in the chat forums where we're getting updates on what's going on in the world and the shit show that we're all being subjected to. For me, some time ago, I got less interested in being aware of what's going on and more interested in solutions. And a couple of years ago, I was made aware of a thing called the Community Assembly of the British Isles. Maybe some of you here are already aware of it. So basically,
and we were going to start with some music, but he is late or MIA, so that's why I just rambled on for the first 30 minutes, so thank you for bearing with me there. But hopefully we learned something, and I just want everyone to know, for one, I'm just a normal guy. I don't have money. I didn't come from money. I'm just a normal person. I never ever thought that I would be an activist. All right? And if you message me, I'll reply. You can email me. My email is frankenskies, Frank E-N Skies, not I-N like frankincense, but like Frankenstein, if you know about that one. frankenskies@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook, Matt Landman, but there's a lot of imitators on there, so you gotta find the one with the followers. I've got like 160,000 followers, even though I get censored and no one sees my posts, but I still have followers. So if you see somebody that doesn't have followers, that's not me. So please don't be a stranger. If you have questions or feedback, or you want to share something with me that you've learned, I'm here for you. So just know that. Thank you. I'm going to just hold this for a second.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you everyone for making it here today. It's good to see people, joining the fight. It's always good.
Come on over here. We're gonna do this over here, I think. All right. And I never looked back. In 2018, I created the documentary film Frankenskies. I never thought that I would be an activist, but here I am, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I hope that you will also consider becoming an activist in your own way. It really just starts with one step forward and doing what you can with what you have, where you are at. I never would have dreamt that I could have done this and what I've done in activism, especially being here, able to host a rally such as this. It's an absolute honor to be here today, representing truth with you all. Thank you so much for being here. So Louise, I met Louise last year. She stepped up. She was just wanted to get vocal. And it was a beautiful thing because a lot of people are shy. And Louise asked me if she could read a little speech that she had heard at the lockdown rallies. And she got up in front of everybody, and it was amazing. And then I found her again, and Louise is a 24-year-old activist from West Kirby, over near Liverpool. She became passionate about activism after having a spiritual awakening that enabled her to see through the illusions and corruption and deception in the world. Louise has a little speech that she's going to give, and speak up. Like be loud, don't be shy. And then also towards the end, you have a rap that you made about geoengineering.
I'm just going to leave as a poem.
Oh, a poem. She's a poet. Yeah, I love it. But seriously, Louise is 24 years old, and she's not shy, and she'll get up in front of everybody and speak truth. So use that as an inspiration, and consider playing your part as you can. You don't have to get up in front of people, but if Louise isn't going to be shy, and she's going to come all the way from West Kirby, then you too can stand up and be an activist as well. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for letting me speak here today. I really, really appreciate it. I prepared a few words, so I'll just read that now. To have so many of us gather here today, willing to use our voices and stand up for the sake of humanity, is incredibly uplifting and brings great hope. I admire anyone who, despite ridicule and fear, goes against the grain and takes a stand and uses their voice to shed light upon the crimes against humanity that are happening right before our eyes. It is our mission to be defending this beautiful planet against the forces who want to block out the sun, using concoctions of chemicals sprayed directly above us every single day. What goes up must come down eventually, and the evidence collected by people like ourselves is irrefutable. Aluminium, barium, strontium, manganese, lead, cadmium, arsenic, mercury, graphene oxide. These toxic metals and trace elements have been reported by activists and researchers in high volume all over the world. In our rainwater, snow, soil, air filters, atmospheric particulate collectors. Is that not crazy to you? This is happening on a mass scale, and so much so that it begins to raise questions like, what are the effects of breathing and consuming these elements? And if the ones doing the spraying know the dangers of these elements in high doses, but haven't stopped spraying them, then what really are the true intentions behind geoengineering? If it's no good for everyone, it's no good at all. Geoengineering is only doing us and the planet more harm, despite it being dressed up to the public as a solution. Bees, insect, nature is suffering massively. To answer the first question, how are we affected by these elements in high doses? Well, let's use lead as the first example. Lead affects the brain and nervous system, can cause learning difficulties, memory problems, irritability, seizures, kidney damage, and many other problems. And the same goes for all the other reported elements listed. Numerous symptoms affecting our cognitive, neurological, and biological systems. And I'm sure many of you are aware that heavy metals contribute in calcifying the pineal gland. Being awake in a society that is for the most part asleep can be an incredibly lonely experience. Being able to see through the deception, corruption and indoctrination at times can be a heavy load to carry. But it gets a hell of a lot easier when we come together in unity to shed light upon the darkness that is being spread from people in power who as a society we blindly trust, follow and cooperate with, without ever asking questions or challenging the system. We're born as free, living, breathing human beings on a planet of abundance. So why are the very resources we depend on for life treated as commodities rather than fundamental rights? Why is our air and water heavily contaminated by the time we consume it? To describe it as contaminated would suggest that it has become dirty over time accidentally through natural processes with no ill intent, planning or prior knowledge. But is that really the case? By us coming together like this, we're not only spreading awareness to others, but we're letting them know that we know what they're doing and we do not consent. There may only be a percentage of us here today, but through consistent activism, resistance and unity, more will join us as they awaken to the true actions and intentions of the corrupt, indoctrinating and deeply convoluted system that we are currently living in. I wrote a poem, so I'm just gonna read that now. I like watching the birds when they fly. I like looking up and seeing blue skies. I can't remember the very last time that the world I was born in felt like mine. Chemical clouds and chemical rain. We're here today because we all want change. We look around to the trees and the bees, silently suffering from a hidden disease. Do you ever wonder why some days you feel a bit dead, like you're under the weather with clouds overhead? I've been staring at the sky, trying to make sense of the haze. I've been seeing more trails left by the planes. We don't want our weather changed, not the sun nor the rain. Geoengineering is damaging more than just our brains. When will they listen? It's our planet too. It doesn't just belong to an entitled few. Psychopaths with power is a dangerous thing. No consideration for anything else living. Before I was born on earth or sent, I do not recall giving prior consent to be poisoned daily by water and air, heavy metals in my sweat and in my hair. If health is a right, then explain this to me. Why is contamination the cost of being free? Decisions that could impact our air, water, weather and future should not be made without accountability to the people they affect. Any activities affecting our environment should be subject to transparency, independent scrutiny and public debate. Thank you everyone for your time today. Thank you Matt for letting me speak. Keep doing what you're doing people, keep attending gatherings, rallies. Thank you.
In the world, I'm doing it here. It's because this is where the most awake people live on Earth, believe it or not. This is where the spark resides for humanity. And what happens here sets the tone for the rest of the world. After the last rally, it started to really dawn on me. This is the front lines. We are the resistance to the new world order agenda. I mean, think about it. Nobody else anywhere in the world is coming together singing, "You can shove the new world order up your ass." So because this is the front lines, we must set a precedent of what we are no longer willing to take, what we are no longer willing to stay silent about. So by having these rallies, we draw the line, and the line must be drawn. We are here to draw the line and to help along the rising consciousness surrounding chemtrails and geoengineering. Most of us are here today because we already know the truth. And because we know the truth, we know that we are unique and we can see through the lies easily. And we feel an obligation to do something about it. And do something about it we must. Because we know the truth, we can see the chemtrails amongst so many who are still blind to them, we can see them. And because we know the truth, we can see the war on consciousness, this war on humanity. And because we are the ones with the eyes to see this war, we are the ones who must fight this war. We can see what is coming. We can see the writing on the wall. We can see not just the future, we can see the present. While so many others cannot see the present, we can see it. And because we can see it, we have got to show the others what we see. And we must reject it, resist it, and dismantle it. We have got to build a new way, pave a new way, a new future, our future, not their future, our future. One with life and humanity at the forefront, prioritized and respected. A future of hope, of reverence, of respect, and of freedom. A future for humanity, not against it. A future worth passing down to our children and grandchildren and grandchildren's grandchildren. Our future. They want us to think war looks a certain way. They want us to think war looks like guns and bombs and bullets and tanks, like how we see in the news and on the movies. They want us to think war is waged between countries and involves fights between borders. They want us to think at home our governments keep us safe and protected. But thankfully we have been gifted with the eyes to see this war that already surrounds us, this war on consciousness, this war on humanity. But still, many will deny its existence and turn a blind eye. But let's think about this logically for a moment. If we went to another country and blocked out their sun, would that not be an act of war? What if we created drought, or manufactured floods, or fires, or hurricanes on foreign land? What if we caused famine? What if we went to a foreign country and added fluoride to their water? A toxic, carcinogenic, neurotoxin poison proven to lower IQ. If we added that to the water of an enemy? Or what if we sprayed their breathing air and skies with aluminium? Would that not be an act of war? Is weather warfare not war? Is heavy metal poisoning via chemtrails not war? Were the lockdowns not economic warfare? Is psychological warfare not war? Are the jabs not war? They think that by controlling our minds, they can control our perception of war. They think that by controlling the minds of the people, that they will control how we react to the actual war being waged on us today. But the people are waking up, and we must help them along in their awakening. And when they finally do wake up and see this war that already surrounds them, then the real battle can begin, and only then can we truly pave the way for our children. We can see what is coming. We can see the writing on the wall. We can see through their bullshit. And because we have the eyes to see, we have the responsibility to stand up for what is right. We have no choice. We are waking up first for a reason, because we are the torch bearers. We can resist this agenda. We can do this in so many ways. By seeing the writing on the wall and knowing what is coming, We must prepare for a future that is nothing like the childhood that we grew up with. We must plan accordingly. By seeing the writing on the wall, we must plan for this by being a reaction to what is coming. So if they plan technocracy, we must plan farming and community resilience through agriculture. If they want to control commerce with the digital ID and digital currency, we must create an alternative means of commencing commerce, a new way of transacting goods and services. We have got to show the next generation that there is another way, and not just show them, but teach them and guide them and give them a torch worth bearing, pass them a torch worth keeping alive. For we are the generation of this transition, and we have the eyes to see what is next. Therefore, we must act accordingly. I see controlled opposition and psyops everywhere I look, everywhere I turn. They think that if they constantly muddy the waters, that we will be misled, that we will be confused, and that we may even just give up. So as I see it, we have a choice. We can either lead this revolution, or they will. So what's it going to be? Are we going to let the New World Order controllers lead this revolution? Lead us to destruction? Lead us to technocracy? Lead us to a digital world with no soul? Lead us into 15-minute cities? Or are we going to do what we came here to do and lead ourselves? We have two very clear options. We can sit idle and watch, or we can lead the way. It is up to us. Thank you.
Hey.
Kath is a grassroots activist and campaign supporter from Bristol. A mom with a passion for poetry and creative expression who strongly believes in truth, freedom, and humanity. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Kath, for coming from Bristol today.
Thank you. I've marched, handed out leaflets, and stood in crowds. But standing here with a microphone is by far the most terrifying, hardest thing I have ever done. But I'm doing this because the issue matters enough to me that I don't want fear to keep me quiet. Born to live under clear skies, now forced to inhale what we never chose. Lines carved across the heavens like a quiet violence, turning something infinite into something owned. We still breathe, but it doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like surrender. We were born for clean air and open skies, not this slow, invisible weight pressing down on every breath. The sky is no longer a refuge, it's a reminder. And the hardest part is knowing that we have no choice but to keep breathing it in. Clear skies were meant to be our birthright, not a memory. Now every breath carries a question. Every glance an upward, a reminder that even the sky isn't untouched. Something sacred has been taken and we are still learning to live with the loss. The sky was never meant to feel like this, like something you survive instead of something that sets you free. And still we look up, hoping to remember what it used to feel like. Do you remember? Lying on the grass, looking up, watching the clouds drift by. Real clouds. Climbing trees and coming home covered in mud. Do you remember? when nature was simply where we went to play. Trees were castles, clouds became dragons, and the sun stayed out forever. Basking in the glow of a summer sun that seemed as endless as our imaginations. And the sky wasn't something we analysed. It was something we wondered at. I miss that. When something feels precious, we pay attention. Perhaps that's why so many of us are here today. We still care enough to look up. We are told not to question, but weather modification is real. Geoengineering is real. It has been researched, discussed, and carried out by governments and military for decades. And we all know that what is happening in our skies is connected to something so much bigger. Only last year, it came to light that the UK government had allocated 56.8 million of our taxpayers' money to fund experiments to dim the sun as part of geoengineering efforts to cool the Earth. The most controversial being the Satan program. Yeah, you heard that right. Stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation, alongside an 800 million four-year budget to the Advanced Research and Invention Agency, ARIA. Though trials were held discreetly in 2021 and 2022, the public were not made aware until spring of 2025. ARIA, a secret government body created by the UK government in 2021 that is exempt from any transparency, including freedom of information requests. Think about that. Yes, we are concerned about what is being sprayed in our skies. Yes, we are concerned about aluminium, barium and strontium. What we are breathing in, what is falling into our soil, our water and our food. We are watching bees disappear. We are watching insects decline. We are watching the sun dim behind a veil. The sun is life. Every tree, every crop, every bee, every animal, every human being. All life on Earth depends on the energy of the sun. No sun, no photosynthesis, no food for plants, no vitamin D3, no immune system, no health. The sky, the soil, the insects, the animals, us. So yes, we will keep asking questions. But here's the beautiful thing. Fear isn't why we are here today. Love brought us here. Hope has brought us here. The stubborn refusal to stop caring has brought us here. Look around you. We are the people who are not giving up. We are the people who still believe tomorrow is worth fighting for. I've seen ordinary people do extraordinary things. Ordinary voices, they matter. So how do we stop it? None of us have the answers, but I know that silence changes nothing. We must not stop speaking our truth. We must not stop asking those questions. We must not stop having conversations, because every conversation plants a seed. Some seeds root immediately, some take years, and some we may never see grow. But every time we speak from the heart, every time we encourage someone to think, to question, to pay attention, we plant something. And seeds have a remarkable way of growing. We cannot give up. History has always been changed by ordinary people, by people like us, by people who cared, by people who chose to speak even when their voice was shaking, by people who stay engaged even when they are afraid, even when they feel small, even when others told them they could never make a difference. but you can. You're here. It's a war on people with light in their eyes, and yet they remain. The dreamers, the healers, the quiet warriors. The ones who choose compassion when bitterness would be easier. The ones who keep their hearts open in a world that rewards armor. The ones who still believe. The ones who feel. That's courage in its purest form. To remain tender in a world that celebrates hardness. To remain hopeful in a world invested in fear. To remain awake in a world that profits from forgetting. It's a war on people with light in their eyes because they remember, because they question, because they refuse to surrender their humanity. And we will have the last laugh one day. Let it be known to any individual, any politician that has contributed to the destruction of our skies, we see you. You will suffer one day just like we have. No mercy. Your time is coming. Thank you.
I would never. And the answer is no, but I have to. If that makes sense. So I want people to think about that. Sandy has immersed herself in exposing the realities behind UN Agenda 2030 and the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. For the past 16 years, Sandy has been delivering talks to raise awareness about the emerging top-down global governance model and the technocratic systems being built around us. The events of the past 3 to 4 years have been a profound personal revelation for Sandy, underscoring that we are both in a human and spiritual battle for our souls and species, and how we must resist the relentless push towards transhumanism and AI and geoengineering. Sandy has her own podcast, 2030 and Beyond, and a YouTube channel at Sandy Adams 2030. Please check her out online and give her a nice round of applause. Thank you.
Very much, Matt. Thank you, Matt. That's great. I don't have to say that now. That's wonderful. It doesn't matter. It's happening. And this is why I get really annoyed with the kind of the nitpicking and the I'm right, you're wrong stuff. Because at the end of the day, they want us divided. And it really doesn't matter. The outcome is the same. We're getting the pollution, we're getting the toxins in our bodies and on our crops, and we're seeing it in the sky. And there's no doubt about it, it is dimming the sun. And it's been doing that from, I kind of think it's been doing it from the 90s, maybe earlier. I mean, I know the history of weather modification goes right back to, in England, to Lynmouth in 1952, when the RAF dropped I think it was about the 15th of August 1952, the RAF dropped silver and dry ice, silver diode and dry ice into clouds in an operation to create rain. And they didn't realise they created rain when they got back to the base station. They all high-fived each other. Woo, woo, fantastic, we did it. They didn't realise they'd killed 35 people because they created so much rain in a short space of time. It washed the whole of Lynmouth, which is a little village in Devon, away. And that only came to light, really, after 50 years, when the D notice was lifted, because it was 50 years, and they interviewed one of the pilots on Radio 4, and he said he has to live with that for the rest of his life. Now, that's, Matt knows more about the history. He can go right back to the 1800s, and we know that they've been mucking about with weather. And I don't want to get into the semantics of how they do it, what they do it with. We know that they're doing it, and it's all part of the bigger agenda of 2030, which is what I'm all about. People think that 2030 is some sort of benign, some kind of benign thing that is going to save the planet. They call it sustainable development. but it's not. It's global governance. And that's what, unfortunately, we signed up to in 1992. And it was called the Earth Summit, and they created sustainable development. And geoengineering, or call it whatever you like, weather modification, whatever you want to call it, it is all part of the bigger plan of control. And unfortunately, we've got digital ID, we've got behaviour management, data centres, and this journey has led me to research from Agenda 21 right down to Agenda 2030. Now, we've got a future where more decisions are removed from the people and placed in the hands of large supranational institutions. Whether you agree with that assessment or not, it's undeniable. Power is becoming increasingly centralised, and what we're seeing in our skies is a big part of that. So how would these persistent expanding trails fit into what I just explained? It's very clear to me that the trails we see, the crisscrossing patterns in our skies, expanding, they do block out the sun. They do fulfill the objectives of 2030. They fulfill them through net zero, because at the end of the day, they don't want the sun to get to our crops and to us. And we've got, they want us to have less sun. We know the sun is essential to our health. In days gone by, hospitals used to wheel people out into the sun because it healed them. They don't do that anymore. They used to have big glass houses called solariums. And, lack of sun is detrimental to our health. Agenda 2030 and the 17 goals push for net zero, and it's affecting our farming, our food security, and British farmers face growing uncertainty. Lack of government subsidies are forcing farmers to give up their land to solar farms, wind farms, data centres. It's compromising food production. Huge data centres are being built on green and brown belt land, as well as our land being taken up, as I say, by I don't know why they call them solar farms and wind farms, they're not, they're factories. Farmers need support. The lifting of crippling sanctions on fertiliser and inheritance tax and subsidies, they need help. And we're putting pressure on our governments to help the farmers. Weather modification is being funded in the UK. As that lovely lady, I've forgotten her name before, she spoke about ARIA, A-R-I-A. Look it up. Look up ARIA. It's the Advanced Research and Invention Agency. The UK government established it in 2023. They announced funding for research into climate cooling, marine cloud brightening, reflected aerosol concepts, and inventions intended to reduce solar radiation. They are deliberately altering planetary systems. ARIA openly says 56.8 billion is what they're being funded to explore climate cooling. The public has a right to full transparency before anyone experiments with our skies. This issue is not in the realms of conspiracy anymore. It's real. Just look up. Every problem through technological control. Why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because we need solutions. Because it's destroying our world. Technocracy is destroying our world. The whole technocratic agenda that brings us digital ID, digital currency, geoengineering, genomic research, all of that, they want all our data in one place so that they can create a completely controlled society, a bit like the Chinese social credit system. All the surveillance that's put into our towns, all of this is part of it. We need solutions, we need transparency, full disclosure of experiments and implementation. We need independent scrutiny, public consultation, independent science, open data, and independent review. The future does not belong to global technocrats. It belongs to informed people like us. We the people need this. Our world belongs to us, not the globalists and not the technocrats. We need local food, local networks. We need autonomous parallel systems free from government oversight.
That's the latest one, darling. Yeah, wonderful. Bless you. Thank you. Yeah, bless you there.
And we need to really learn about detoxing. Now, luckily Matt talked about detoxing. He's got an amazing bit on his website that talks about all the supplements you can take. Detoxing is a big part of our journey if this stuff is going to continue to rain down on us. We need supplements that rid the body of toxins and heavy metals. Matt has loads of info on his website. Do look at it. Now,
Just recently from Ireland, David Kane. He's a little camera shy, but he wanted me to read a poem that he wrote. And this is in the Light newspaper. And actually Darren from the Light newspaper is actually here today. Darren, do you all know the Light newspaper? Let's give Darren a round of applause. He's a musician and he'll be performing after the Unregistered Chickens here in a moment. So here's the poem by David Kane. Dear the Light, another tree has fallen. Its limbs lay all around. What's causing this to happen? Is something in the ground? Its roots, they have all shrunken. Brown bark now turning green. Just go about your business, slave. There's nothing to be seen. I lift my head unto the sky. Those lines are everywhere. Why don't the masses notice this? But do they even care? My fear now lies in times ahead, when food it may not grow. I can only take some solace knowing we tried to tell them so. Lovely. David, are you here? Raise your hand. Where is he? There he is. Oh, he's got a camera. Thank you, David. I appreciate your beautiful poem. And I'll speak to that just for a moment. Well, here we have a nice chemtrail sky, or not nice, but if you see, we've got real clouds and fake clouds. Fake clouds are the ones above the clouds here today. And this is what the sky looks like after the spraying has unraveled and it's being microwaved with ground-based stations called NextRad or HARP. Once you go deep down the rabbit hole, you cannot unsee it. So, yes, the trees are under attack, and it's really sad. Where I live, there's trees that are on the river with their roots in the river that are dying from drought. Imagine that. And the scientific community and the environmentalists and the university are scratching their heads and saying, how could this be? The river flows all year, and the ponderosa pines, these conifer trees, they have their roots in the river. How are they dying of drought? We don't understand. And the elephant in the room are the skies above them. I'm talking as like a poem still in stanza. So, but seriously, they spray aluminum oxide. This is the primary constituent in the sprays. It is in the patents. It is in our hair samples. It's in the soil. It's in the rainwater samples when the activists of the world take science into their own hands and apply the scientific method and see the spraying in the skies and then it rains the next day and they test the rainwater. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a genius to add 1 + 1. The patents say they're going to use it. Monsanto even came out with aluminum-resistant genes and seeds. So they spray the aluminum oxide. It comes down on our trees. It gets in our soil. And then it disrupts the tree's ability to uptake water. It creates stress in the trees, and they become infested with bugs, beetles, and molds and what have you. Like, they become vulnerable. But especially frightening is that aluminium oxide is a patented fire accelerant. So fire accelerants are being sprayed on our forests. And it disrupts, like I said, the ability for these trees to uptake water, and they're drying of drought even when they're right next to water. So let's pray for our trees and pray for an awakening in humanity so that we can take our forests back and not watch our farmland and forests and vegetation slowly die and become vulnerable to fires. And like I said earlier, everyone can play their part. David Kane is filming here today. He boldly approached me and asked me to read his poem. And he wrote this poem, put his heart and soul into it, gave it to Darren at the Light newspaper, and got it published. And now people are listening to his poem. He's doing something. He's trying. Let's give him a round of applause, please. We can all do something. I like to say, if you can knit for the awakening of chemtrails. If you can bake a chemtrail plain pie and give it, or cake, and give it to your coworkers and tell them why you did it. You know, there's things that can be done. Use your passion and your heart to help along this awakening. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be fear-based. You can do it out of love. Our next speaker is Philly J. Lay. Come on over lunch.
Hello, lovely people. How are we all today? Okay, big cheer, make some noise. So, first of all, I want to say thank you to every single one of you that has rocked up today for your health and that of the planet. Now, I have to say I'm disappointed that there aren't enough people here. I mean, you can never have enough people. But, you know, the numbers are low, and yet everybody must be looking up in the sky and wondering what's happening. And we've got a lot of cameras here today, so I'm just going to say to all of you people at home, because this is going out on YouTube, where the fuck are you? This is time to stand up while we still have a chance to fight for our health and that of the planet. So get your ass down to these events. Stand up. Do what you have to do to get this information out. So anyway, as Matt said, I am Philly J. Lay. I'm the host of the Wellness Way podcast. And what I try to do is give people information. We know that we are being poisoned from every direction, from our soil, from our water, from our skies. And this has been going on for generation after generation after generation. And it's time to say enough. There are solutions. We are incredibly powerful. We know a fraction of what we can do to heal ourselves. And in that fraction that we know how to heal ourselves, we know a minuscule fraction of how we heal this planet. But everything is connected. Unless we do both, we're kind of fucked. And I'm not going to let that happen, not on my watch. So, as I said, I give people solutions. And I wanted to come up and speak because I was contacted a couple of weeks ago by an Instagram friend, the wonderful Dr. Catherine Clinton, who's a quantum biologist and teaches everybody the power that we have with our soil, with our bodies, you know, all the connections. And she said, Philly, I'm coming to London, can we spend a day together? And I said, hell yes, Catherine, can we go one better than that and do a health hub? So I'm a woman on a bit of a mission. And I'm building the new NHS, Natural Health System. And so I said to Camilla, yes, get down to CNM, the College of Naturopathic Medicine, on the 8th of September. I will book the whole college out for the day. And let's talk about our superpowers. And then, a week later, I had another DM on Insta from one of my first guests on the podcast, a brilliant woman called Camilla Scher. And Camilla is an agro-homeopath. So I don't know, do all of you use homeopathy on yourselves? Put your hand up if you use homeopathy. We've got lots of people here that know about the energy vibration of homeopathy. Well, Camilla uses it for plants. And she has extraordinary results with it. I mean, quite extraordinary. So many years ago, she moved to Africa, and in her townlands, there were lots of schools and the children weren't very healthy. So she was mixing a remedy, which is kind of like a homeopathic version of a vitamin tablet. And she was dropping it into all the schools for free. And the children were getting healthier and healthier and healthier. And then one day, a dad at the school said, could you do this for plants? Because I've been trying to turn organic on my coffee farm for 3 years and I can't. And I haven't really had any crops and I think I might lose the farm. Can you help me? She said, let's give it a go. So she mixed a remedy. A few months later, he saw Camilla and said, well, I don't know what was in that remedy, but I have the largest crop I have ever seen on coffee trees. The only problem is the branches can't bear the weight and I'm still going to lose all my plants. And she said, don't worry, I'll mix you another remedy. So she mixed a remedy, and virtually overnight, half the coffee beans fell off the trees and bushes, and he had this abundant crop that kept his trees and the best crop he had ever had. And she thought, okay, there's something in this. And then her mum contacted her. They had a really old 200-year tree that her mum loved, and it was covered by that moth that kind of puts a web around the trees and then eats the trees and they die. And her mum said, I don't think there's anything you can do to help me here, darling. And she said, let me give it a go. Mixed a remedy, and literally within a few weeks the tree had come back to life. So Camilla has dedicated the last few years of her life to agro-homeopathy. And when she messaged me, she said, you know, the podcast is doing so well, can you please help me get agro-homeopathy out to the world? I said, hell yeah. I said, but will you do me a favour? Will you get on a plane to London and will you come and join us at the Health Hub at C&M on Tuesday, the 8th of September? And she said, yes, I will. We have brought some extraordinary other guests on board for this event. And it's one that's very, very personal to me. My dad started Pick Your Own Strawberries in the UK after World War II. He was a bomber pilot. He knew, he didn't want to come back to the UK because he knew the terrible things that they were doing with aeroplanes. And my granny, his mum, thought that he would never come home. So she walked 10 miles to a little village where my mum used to play the piano in a pub, and said, I think my boy is sweet on you. Will you write to him and persuade him to come home? So my mum did. My father came back vaccine damaged. They called it Parkinson's disease, but according to his letters, when he tried to call off my parents' wedding, it was after a plague inoculation. He knew what was going on. He grew these strawberries. He didn't have any money to hire people to pick them. So him and Mum used to cry as they were rotting on the plants. And one day Mum just wrote a sign saying, pick your own strawberries, and put it up on the road. And that was the beginning of a movement that took over the UK in the 50s and the 60s. Now, there was a disease called red core that was wiping out British strawberry growers at this time. And my dad came up with a remedy, which was Epsom salts and seaweed, that stopped it. In his naivety, he took this remedy to ICI, who said, oh, we don't have any money to give you up front, but we'll give you a mighty big royalty. And my father, in his naivety, signed that contract, and it was buried. And ICI watched as virtually every strawberry grower in the UK went bankrupt. Well, this is payback time, ICI. I'm here to take down the petrochemical companies. I want agro-homeopathy on everybody's lips as we take this world to the new stage. For that reason, I've taken another remortgage on my house, and I am going to film and live stream this talk globally and to every farmer and every grower free of charge around the world. I need as many of you as I can possibly get at the Health Hub. You'll find it on my webpage, phillyjlay.com. We go live, I think, on Tuesday, and we've got a 10% early bird discount. Please come and support the work I'm doing. I'm kind of out of remortgages here, guys. I need your help because we will do this. This is very, very personal for me. There's also something else very exciting that I can't tell you about yet, but I will, because we are going to do a health hub later on in the year on chemtrails and the things that we can do to save the planet. But there is an app coming that can break them up. But that's all I can say about that at the moment. But it's very exciting. We are finding solutions. We are the power. We are the people. Take back control while we still can. Because as I say at the end of every podcast, the doctor of your future is you. Thank you.
And came back. That shows some real commitment and integrity. And it shows that you care. You know? It really does. What a time to be alive. Seriously. We've got a worldwide New World Order technocratic tyrannical police state being built around us as we speak, while simultaneously we have the great awakening rising consciousness of humanity growing every day as the people of the world awaken to the reality that a literal spiritual battle of light versus dark is playing out here in physicality amongst us. And we get to be aware and awake and involved in this fight for humanity, in this fight for consciousness. Wow. And we're the front runners. I know it seems like we're surrounded by darkness, but we've been given this mission to wake up first, to guide the way for people, to shine our light so bright, to let others find their way out of the dark. And I promise we're not alone, and we will win this battle. It seems like it's slow moving. It's because we come from spirit, we come from light, and now we're in physical form, and it feels like molasses. But it's happening. It's just slower than we all would want. But we are waking up first for a reason. Last year, I was here talking with a friend, and he mentioned to me about how these anti-chemtrail rallies, what they do is they give people permission. Permission to speak up about this crucial topic. And he was absolutely correct. Like, look around you. Perfectly normal, beautiful people. Nothing that the media would paint would be of the kind of people that would be here today. It's inspiring to know that we're not alone. So by having these rallies, we give the people of the UK and the people of the world permission to stand up and speak up about chemtrails. These rallies, they give permission, but also even just little things in our daily lives can give people permission to act and to think. A simple example is how I live in this tiny, quiet town. And when I got back from the last rally, I still had some stickers left over, which I have some great stickers that are just like these shirts that were made, Cloudy with a Chance of Chemtrails. So please, I have stickers, I have flyers, I've got DVDs, I've even got some more t-shirts to hand out. And then if you don't have a badge button, they're commemorative. It's like a memory, so you'll remember. And then actually last year I gave out stickers that look just like these badges, and some people still have both, which is really sweet. So I got back from coming here last year, went back to my small sleepy town in Oregon, which is basically Northern California in the US, and I put up one of my chemtrail stickers on an abandoned signpost. And later I went by to see if my sticker was still there. And it was. And more stickers had joined me of all different types. Activism-related stickers, artistic stickers. The signpost was nearly filled with stickers. And I realized that just by putting that sticker up, I had given them permission, the others. They realized my sticker made it, and theirs could too. I had given them permission in the spirit of activism and solidarity, which was true power. And it seems small, but it's not. The people coming together. And it's what they fear the most. People coming together. And it can be as simple as a sticker, or as inspiring as a rally such as this. Things small and big, it will inspire others. And with inspiration comes hope. And with hope, anything can happen. Hope is very powerful and much needed in this world today. What is power? Hope is power. Truth is power. The people are power. We are power. By force, they think that they can imitate power and gain control of our minds, control of our actions. But force is just manipulation. Force is not power. By force, they can only give the illusion of power. But through force, they want to control our future, and we cannot let that happen. The control starts with the mind. Our governments and mainstream media will mislead us and confuse us and lie to us, which is one of the biggest reasons why the awakening surrounding chemtrails has been so slow. I know it feels like molasses, believe me people, but it's happening. People are waking up. They attempt to control our minds, and it's no wonder they call themselves government, which literally means control of the mind in Latin. The mainstream media and government attempt to confuse us and manipulate our minds by saying chemtrails are a crazy conspiracy theory, while solar geoengineering is a solution for mitigating the lie that is global warming, all the while breaking their own rules as they build massive AI surveillance data centers which put a strain on the energy grid, use up our water resources, and even emit incredible amounts of heat. If they really cared about, quote, global warming, they wouldn't be building these data centers as we speak. In the US right now, there's over 3,000 massive data centers being built, new ones. And so many people are scratching their heads and asking why, what do we need this for? And they're quiet about it because they don't want to say it's for digital currency, technocracy, social credit systems, surveillance. They won't tell us that or we'd all reject it with all our might. Funny how also chemtrails are a crazy conspiracy theory, while geoengineering is our supposed solution to the global warming climate change lies. While if you know the truth, you know that chemtrails and geoengineering are the exact same thing. Meanwhile, the weather is actually being engineered by chemtrails on a near daily basis. Other terms get thrown around in an attempt to confuse the public. Some of us may have heard the terms solar geoengineering, or stratospheric aerosol injections, or solar radiation management, or stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation program, which the UK government just casually calls the Satan program, used to block out the sun. All of these are just synonyms for the word chemtrails, but designed to sound scientific, to sound specialized, to confuse us. They literally call their sun blocking program that they publicly launched last year, the UK government, they call it Satan, which is so revealing and telling, as this is truly a battle of dark versus light, a battle of good and evil. Regardless of the terminology you give it, this is an ongoing crime against humanity, and it must be stopped. Thank you. For many, chemtrails is the beginning of a massive awakening. It sure was for me. I'll tell you what, chemtrails changed my life. They really did. It doesn't stop at just waking up to the spraying. It continues. This rally isn't just about chemtrails, it's about truth, the frequency of truth. And once you are on the frequency, resonant vibration wavelength of truth, the other lies become obvious. All the lies, not just the lies in our skies. And all the New World Order nonsense lies are contingent upon the world staying asleep. But the smelling salt to all of it can be the chemtrails. It's like once you open your eyes to one thing and see that they're lying about something so massive like that, you start to see the other lies become prevalent and obvious and palpable. It's like this door is opened up for you and you can see the rest of the world for what it is. It's like you put on the glasses and you can finally see. Because if you can wake up to the fact that they're spraying the skies in secret and have been doing so for decades, you can open your mind to so much more and start to see the deep connections of it all and comprehend the complexity of Agenda 2030 and the New World Order. People say that protests are pointless. You can give it another word, you can call it a rally. But either way, those people do not see the bigger picture. One day, all of this may be taken away from us, for one. And, let's be real, not all protests are created equal. As far as the chemtrails go, people are still waking up. This is just the beginning of the awakening, and every single nudge matters to shake the people from their slumber. And events like this show people that there are others, that they're not alone. And being awake and alone it can be a scary place. You don't feel comfortable talking to others about it. You think everyone around you is a zombie. You know, it's even in London, I walk around here and I'm like trying to pass out my chemtrail flyers, and I know very few people are receptive. But they're out there. Our people are out there, and we need to wave our flags, and we need to find our tribe. I like to especially go to farmers markets. I've noticed that the vendors at farmers markets, 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, I know all about that. I'm not going to wave my flag, I'll lose a little business, but I know all about that. And I make friends at farmers markets wherever I go, all around the world. Doesn't matter where I am. There's the people that are in touch with the earth, that are growing food for their family and for a living. They are the ones that are very aware. They're the salt of the earth. And they're normal, they're normal, nice, family-oriented people. Also, regarding this rally, there are children here today who will one day grow up knowing that we tried, knowing that we paved the way for them to have a better future, that their parents cared about this important issue and were not afraid to get involved. We are here to give those children hope, which is what they need so badly in this polarized world of light and dark. We must give the light hope as we raise warriors unapologetically, those who will be the ones that will need hope even more than we do. So we've got work to do, and activism needs you to get involved and show your support to help push this awakening along. The lockdown surely got some people thinking, so now is the opportunity to really open their minds and help show them the way. The government needed a term to compartmentalize and ridicule those who are thinking for themselves, so the term conspiracy theorist was born. This bullying, peer ridicule, is groupthink playground tactics used against those speaking truth. But the tides are shifting, and we truthers are proud conspiracy theorists. At least I know that I am. It's time to flip that term on its head. You know, when people laugh at you, it's like they don't know. and they should be the ones being shunned, really, at this point, at this stage in the game. I see the negative connotation fading away as more people wake up and we find unity in truth. The writing is on the wall. They think that they can poison our air, poison our water, and build a digital prison for us and our children, and that we won't do anything about it. But we were born to see through their lies. We can see right through their plan, and they are only waking up more and more people as they go and show their true colors. Every day, people are waking up to the new world order agenda, and the awakening is unstoppable. And those in charge are honestly terrified. That's why they do everything that they do. Old, young, short, tall, black, white, we don't care who you are. As long as you are honoring truth, you're part of our team. We aren't here to debate chemtrails anymore. That time has passed. I mean, they are literally admitting it. We are here in response to this attack on sovereignty and to help awaken those who are still asleep and to gather our tribe. We are the last stand. Humanity is relying on us. Let's show them the way. Thank you. So, there's a few speakers that weren't able to come today, and one important aspect that I think is very empowering, because I had an herbalist that was coming, and I'm going to reiterate some things that I spoke about a little earlier when I was doing the mic check, so that we can be empowered with truth and walk away with some sort of solutions and not feel hopeless. Because I like to say, if we can't immediately change what's outside of us, we can at least change what's inside of us. So we can, thank you. So we can all do a little better and pick up routines in our life that help us. By knowing what's going on, we can detox these constituents in the chemtrails. So for one, I like to do sauna regularly. And I get my body like detoxing. And I drink clean spring water, which I have access to a spring. But if you don't have access to a spring, you can get yourself a reverse osmosis system, or even just a, what's it called? Distiller, thank you. A distiller. Drinking clean water is very important, because there are things in the tap water that don't come out in normal filters, and we can't always get clean water. So clean water and cleaning our bodies out with sauna, regular sweating. Also, what we put in our body is very important. I know there's a lot of processed foods out there, and I like to say, if I can't read it, I don't eat it. And I like to pass that down to the next generation. If I can't read it, I don't eat it. Learn about the Dirty Dozen. Learn about GMO foods. Learn about trying to eat organic and supporting your local farming, and learning how to grow your own food. All it takes is a handful of seeds, and where there's a will, there's a way. I know a lot of us, I live in an apartment, I can't do that. You can. You can get an allotment, you can get a little pot, you can do a little garden bed somewhere, you can help someone else out. We can always learn. I grew up in the city, and it took me, I was in my 30s, I'm now 45. I was in my 30s, and I got a job on an organic farm, and I thought I knew so much. I was like 32 at the time. And I did not know until I worked on a potato farm that potatoes grew potatoes. I couldn't believe it. I was actually in shock. they were trying to grow in my cupboard in the dark, and I didn't know what that even was. And then I learned you put the potato in the ground, and it actually grows potatoes, and potatoes are very, very, very easy to grow. But these are simple steps towards self-sustainability and resilience that we can all take. And I know it seems simple, but the children are just in awe when you show them this. And then when they learn that they don't have to rely on the supermarket, that they don't have to rely on the government, that eventually we can take our power back through community resilience, or maybe setting up a community-supported agriculture system in our neighborhood. All it takes is a neighborhood getting involved. So one family grows tomatoes, one family grows potatoes, and then they start to trade. Another family grows carrots, and all of a sudden now you don't have to get tomatoes, carrots, or potatoes from the store anymore because the people are taking care of themselves. And then you can build off of that. All it takes is one step in the right direction. And as the world starts to become more and more digitized, and the digital ID is coming, and the digital currency is coming, we have to build a parallel, perpendicular society that functions alongside of this dystopia, this technocracy. And we can do it. We will do it. And once we do it, we will show others how amazing it is, and they will come on board. It will happen. It's happening. Where I live, I'm blessed by living around farmland, and a lot of people are already talking about this. You'd be surprised the conversations that people are having that you would think are normies. So we're talking about the creation of a barter system, and I'm getting really involved in it and spearheading this. It's a ledger system, and it's involvement. People have to be involved, and it's contributionism. And if you're not playing your part, you're not involved. But people start to trade things, and it starts to snowball, and then you have a system set up so when they do switch over to a digital currency, you don't have to play ball. That doesn't have to be a part of your reality. And like I said in my speech earlier, we have to show the next generation that there is another way, but not just show them, but teach them and guide them and give them a torch worth bearing, pass them a torch worth keeping alive, because we are the generation of this transition. We have the eyes to see what is next. Therefore, we must act accordingly. We can't just sit idle and watch this all happen. We can't. We owe it to our ancestors. We owe it to our children. We owe it to the grandchildren's grandchildren that aren't even born yet. So back to detoxing. There's ways to get the heavy metals out of our system. It's no wonder that the #1 cause of death in the UK is now Alzheimer's and dementia, which comes from aluminum toxicity buildup in the brain. We can remove these heavy metals from our system by taking herbs that are silica rich, because silica bonds to aluminum, pulls it out of our system. We can avoid fluoride. Ditch the fluoride toothpaste. Make sure you don't have fluoride in your water. If you do, get a shower filter, at least a charcoal shower filter, because the fluoride likes to bond to the chlorine and the steam, and you can filter it out just with a charcoal shower filter. These are easy to get. You can also filter your water with a distiller or a reverse osmosis system and what have you, but there's simple steps towards getting less fluoride in your life. And that's an important piece of the puzzle, because fluoride bonds to aluminum and pulls it into your brain, because fluoride is nano level. It can bypass the blood-brain barrier, and it'll pull the aluminum into your brain. Also, mineralization. I spoke about it earlier, I'm going to talk about it one more time. If you're mineral deficient, you're walking around like a sponge, and then you're absorbing toxins from your environment, trying to get the minerals that you need. And we don't all need to be sponges. We can level up and understand what's happening and embrace the truth and act like we know the truth, because we do. It's part of being an activist, being a truther, being aware in this world. We have to walk the walk and talk the talk and pass this information on to our children, but not just pass it on, but show them and act, and show them how we act so that they can imitate us. Children are very good imitators, which makes it so important that we eat healthy and show them how it is to eat healthy. Mineral-dense foods will get you the minerals that you need, and you can take bioavailable supplements such as Irish sea moss. I take an Irish sea moss, bladderwrack, burdock supplement. Those three things, Irish sea moss, which is a seaweed, bladderwrack, which is a seaweed, and burdock, which is a root. Those three herbs give you all the minerals that you need on a daily basis. And then when you have all those minerals, which is about 120 minerals that you need on a daily basis, then you're not a sponge in your environment absorbing the chemtrails and the toxic things in your life. So you don't have to be a mineral deficient sponge. You can be up to speed on your minerals. You can also get mineral dense foods such as organ meat or organ supplements or grass-fed beef or liver or like caviar, like fish eggs. Those are very mineral dense. But you can do your research. Also, for detoxing the heavy metals, there's chlorella. There's also, like I said, silica-rich foods, silica-rich herbs such as bamboo. You can get bamboo activated charcoal. You can get bamboo tea, like they make tea bags that you can just steep the bamboo. It's like the leaves from the bamboo, because bamboo grows in sand, and sand is silica. And then the bamboo literally eats the sand and makes the silica bioavailable. We can't eat the sand, so we have to eat the plants that eat the sand. And then that silica is good for our hair, good for our bones, good for our skin, and it also bonds to aluminium and pulls it out of our system. Another amazing herb that I recommend everyone learning about is horsetail. Horsetail is an amazing thing. If you forage it on your own, you have to dry it out before you eat it. It has a compound in it that has to be dried out, otherwise it's not that good for you. And then also, I take cilantro, which I believe is maybe not a word here. Coriander is, you know it as. You can get coriander supplements, like in capsule form or tinctures. Coriander will pull the heavy metals out of your system. This is called chelation. Chelate, chelate, or chelation. And that's the word that means pulling the metals out of your system. We can all do a little better, and we can learn how to chelate our bodies, we can learn how to mineralize, and we can learn how to detox through saunas and living a better lifestyle. And especially passing this information on to our children. So if anybody has any questions about this, I'm happy to answer them. Come up to me. During the music, I'm going to come around and make sure every single person has one of these badges, because I don't want to go home with any of them. Thank you. And then also, please email me, frankenskies@gmail.com. If you haven't seen my film, Frankenskies, which came out in 2018, it's palpable for just about anybody. Even if you just watch the first 15 minutes, it goes through the historical chronology of how weather engineering was created by the military-industrial complex. The footage starts in the 1920s. The patents start in the 1890s. If anybody ever questions the weather warfare, the weather engineering, the solar geoengineering, the chemtrails, just tell them that there's patents that go back to the 1890s. That's enough of a seed to be planted in the first encounter. Frankenskies starts in the 1920s with historical stock footage from the military-industrial complex and goes all the way to modern day. By the time the film gets to the 1960s and the weather is weaponized in Vietnam with Operation Popeye, it is self-evident that the weather can be and is weaponized, and it still is being used against us today because so many people are unaware and ignorant about the topic. If you just look up, you can see this chemtrail haze above the skies, and you can even see these like little bits of ripple lines in it because of the frequencies that are being used in the chemtrails. And there's natural, beautiful, normal clouds among us today. God bless them. So please reach out to me, frankenskies@gmail.com. Don't be a stranger. I'm also on Facebook, Matt Landman, and I'm here for you for any questions you have on this topic or anything else in your world. If you ever have a down day and you need a friend. So thank you for coming out today. I really appreciate you all. I love you all. And please stay for the music. And if you can come out to the pub afterwards, we're going to Carpenter's Arm, which is 12 Seymour Place. It's like a 5-minute walk. And thank you again.